Hello, Mountain Dew and Dorito Gremlins. My name is D.Va, and there is a new Overwatch animated short out. This one focusing on D.Va, and appropriately, given that it's focusing on the pro gamer of the Overwatch cast, it was released in conjunction with Gamescom. Now, I've already had a bunch of comments and questions from people asking me to talk about this animated short, and so I am going to. Now, I had a little bit of trouble finding a way in which I wanted to approach it. On the one hand, it's a Blizzard short, like everything about it is just, the production quality is through the roof. It's kind of hard to find anything else to do than just to go and sit there and go, oh yeah, that's good, oh yeah, that's good, oh yeah, that's good, oh yeah, that's good. And on the other hand, I couldn't really find a good critical take that I wanted to make because, like, I do have some nitpicks with this short. I feel like the voice direction is maybe a little bit too stiff at times. Like, it feels like the voice director was telling the voice actors to very clearly enunciate every word of their voice lines, and that kind of doesn't work for me, but that's more of a personal nitpick. I also have a little bit of a niggle with the Overwatch aesthetic in general when it comes to portraying, you know, complicated and painful emotions, where because the Overwatch aesthetic is kind of plastic and sort of action figure-like and sort of Big Hero 6 cartoony, it has a little bit of trouble distorting faces and sort of really scrunching up expressions and stuff to really communicate, you know, powerful, unpleasant, traumatic emotions on the characters. This is something that happened in the Dragons short with Hanzo, and something I feel like also kind of happens in this short, that a lot of the time there's a lot more emotion in the script and in the voice delivery than there really is on the faces of the characters. But again, it's sort of a niggly nitpick because it's like, yeah, but that's not what the aesthetic doesn't really support that. So So, what I've actually decided to actually talk about, and then it's only taking me about 2 minutes to tell you, is a little bit on the characterization of D.Va and the very clever way in which Blizzard decided to incorporate both her personality and playstyle from in the game, but also a meme from the community. Now, as the animated short opens, one of the first shots, initially we don't really see her face at all. The first couple of shots we get of D.Va is her hand picking up a tool, and then her with the face obscured by the cap. Mostly, her head is entirely out of frame almost, focused on her work improving the mecha. And so the cinematic language of the short is telling us, okay, this is the primary thing that this character cares about. She doesn't really care about the TV report. She doesn't care about the news. She doesn't care about the rest and relaxation that she's supposedly having right now, according to the voiceover from the TV. She cares about repairing her mecha. So we're already getting this, okay, she's all business thing. Then the second clever thing that Blizzard do is, as we get back a little further, we see D.Va picking up an energy drink, taking a sip. We still don't get to see her full face. And we see her picking up a definitely not Dorito generic brand animated short chip junk food thing and eating it. And this is all before we really get to have any kind of a look on her face. So the short is telling us two important things about the character: that she's a workaholic who spends a lot of time concerned with fixing this mech being ready for combat, and that she eats a lot of junk food and drinks a lot of energy drink. Now, if you're a member of the Overwatch community, you're probably familiar with the Gremlin D.Va meme, the Dorito Gremlin meme, which was sort of an early days Overwatch meme about D.Va as a character. Oh, she's a pro gamer. Well, that means she drinks a lot of Mountain Dew and she eats a lot of Doritos, and she's like a meme fountain, just kind of shouting bad Twitch chat stuff all over the place. And it's never really a funny meme, but it's one of the early ones, and it's one that Blizzard seems to have taken notice of, because these first two shots of her drinking energy drink and eating a definitely not Dorito are a clear reference to it. But what's interesting is what they're doing with the reference to that meme, because it's not just a shallow, haha, we know about the meme and we're using it here. It has a thematic relevance to the plot of the short. Now, the primary emotional conflict of the short is between D.Va and her friend Taeyun, and it relates to D.Va's relationship with her work, essentially. Taeyun would very much like her to take a goddamn break, to take a rest, to go relax somewhere and, you know, take a moment for herself, take care of herself at all, and not try to take on all of the responsibility of defending the entire country on her own. And D.Va can't stomach the idea of it. She can't let go of her responsibility to protect people. She can't let go of her responsibility to defeat the evil Omnics that live in the sea and who attack them periodically. And the reason why she can't is explained to us in rather no uncertain terms in this little scene. She touches the battle scar damage from one of their previous engagements, and we're immediately transported into a flashback, which is communicated to us because the flashback has a completely different tone and color than everything that's going on in the short otherwise. And the last thing we hear before the shot flashes back to D.Va in the present day is one of her teammates screaming that she's been hit and that she's going down. And this is something that's expressed to us also in one of the TV shots earlier. If I can find it. Let's see. It's the conference when they're sitting all together. Yeah, here we go. D.Va is the only one of her teammates who is unhurt, or at least visibly unhurt, after that last battle. She's the only one without physical scars, which leads you perhaps to ask the question, if she doesn't have physical scars, what kind of scars does she have? Emotional ones, essentially. And this is at the core of the characterization of D.Va as she is in the short, is that she is self-destructive. Which, you know, if you know D.Va's gameplay is, oh yeah, she's self-destructive. Ah, I see what you've done there, Blizzard. You have made a reference to her most iconic ability in-game, that she's constantly self-destructing her mech, and made it part of her characterization in the lore of Overwatch. D.Va is someone who's on a collision course with self-harm because she cannot let go of the responsibility to protect everyone and everything. That's quite good. So how the hell does any of this relate to the Dorito and Mountain Dew thing? Well, we open with a shot of D.Va drinking unhealthy energy drink and eating unhealthy junk food snacks, and as the short closes as well, one of the voice lines that are delivered is that D.Va kind of goes, "Oh, everything is great. Like we have great food and we have great company and everything's good. And I like being a workaholic, even though it almost just killed me, literally just killed me." We flash to this shot of the workshop just being nothing but junk food, nothing but energy drink, nothing but Doritos. This is what you would, you know, call an unhealthy lifestyle. This is not a great way to live your life. This is, in fact, self-destructive. And that's what I find so bloody clever about the way in which Blizzard incorporated this meme into the storytelling of the short is, okay, we see your meme, we see your Mountain Dew and Doritos thing, so let's take that seriously. Let's actually incorporate that as part of her character, is that she is someone who lives unhealthily. She is someone who just, you know, kind of papers over her problems by shouting jokes and memes and stuff, and who doesn't quite take her own health and well-being seriously. But what does that mean if we actually take the premise of the character that she's someone who's tasked with defending an entire goddamn city from giant robot monsters from the sea, sometimes alone? What does that do to a person? What does that say about a person, that they are so focused on this and only this, that they hurt themselves in the process? And this is why, like, it's a lighthearted scene at the end with her and Taeyeon together in the hangar once again, but the important thing here is that as the short closes, what Blizzard are telling us is that D.Va is repeating the exact same pattern. We open the short on the first shot of D.Va being her at work repairing, fixing the mech, and as the short ends, we get a shot of her hard at work repairing and fixing the mech, except this time she does have physical scars. She does have a physical manifestation of the damage that this life is doing to her, of the damage that living like this is doing to her. It is hurting her. It is putting her in a cast. It is putting her in hospital. And she has a friend who helps pick up after her, but she's repeating the pattern. And not just in one way. Let's see if we can find where the heck is the Mountain Dew and Dorito shot? I had it before. She's repeating the pattern still. There's not less energy drink and Mountain Dew and Doritos hanging around the workshop right now. There's more. It's piling up. There's becoming more of it. It's becoming clutter. It's becoming mess. It's becoming a problem. And that to me was the thing that kind of sold me on this short as a piece of character storytelling is, first of all, just the cleverness, like the meta-aware cleverness of taking a community meme, incorporating it, and then twisting it into something that's actually a meaningful expression of who the character is as a person and one of their internal conflicts. But also, despite the sort of happy ending to this short, this to me is more of a tragedy than a comedy. It's more of a tragedy than a hero narrative, because yeah, like, it's clear that there's really no other option when D.Va self-destructs her mech in order to destroy the last of the robots that are heading towards Busan, and, you know, which are going to kill thousands of people if they're allowed to get close. It's obvious there's no other choice. It's obvious she can't really do anything else, but the question you kind of have to ask is, why the hell doesn't she have more help? She has one friend back at the base who's trying to take care of her, trying to get her out of trouble, but she does this alone, and the only way she wins the conflict at the end is by jumping out of a thing, like, from like a couple of 100 meters above sea level, landing in the sea with a giant explosion going on overhead. She literally almost kills herself in order to do her job. And the question I have is, like, does South Korea not have like an army or something? Could the anti-air batteries, anything? Why the hell is it up to this one girl to take care of this entire nation's safety and security? And we get maybe a little bit of a clue of that in the short itself, because as we open, take a look at the cityscape that we're going over here. D.Va, D.Va's mech, D.Va branded soda, D.Va branded ramen or kimchi or whatever, D.Va projected on the side of a building, D.Va on TV being adored by the public. D.Va, 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 and D.Va, I believe it's also confirmed in some of the talks that they had at Gamescom that D.Va's team, some of them have a little bit of a jealousy issue with her, where they're a little upset that she's hogging all the glory, as it were. But this gives us a little bit of a clue, I think, at least, as to the nature of South Korea in the world of Overwatch, like the way in which Korea deals with the threat of the Omnics in the sea is that they have propped up D.Va as this sort of infallible defender of the nation, and her team, indeed, as infallible defenders of the nation, and they're kind of covering up just how dire things really are. And that's something that one of the voice lines say, is that at the end here, as we see this news report, the announcer says that D.Va gets away from the conflict completely unscathed, and then we cut to D.Va most definitely not unscathed in any way, shape, or form, which gives us a little bit of a clue as to what kind of pressure is being put on her. She's not just doing this for herself, for her own traumas. She's also doing this because, well, there's a lot of branding deals pushing her to behave the way that she does. There's a lot of money riding on her being the infallible defender of the nation. And there's probably also a lot of political pressure riding on her, managing to defend the country all on her own. And this is stuff that sort of happens in the background. It's more implication than outright stated. But to me, it says something interesting about who she is as a character, that she takes all of this responsibility on herself. And I am not an expert on Korean culture at all. If anyone knows more about Korean culture than I do, please go down into the comments and correct anything I'm about to say, because I'm very ready to be wrong. But my general understanding of the South Korean idol industry, as it were, like the K-pop industry, the sort of celebrity industry in South Korea, is that it is an industry that places heavy requirements for perfection on the pop stars it promotes and brands and monetizes, to the point where I've heard stories that some have been forced to go on TV and apologize for having the temerity to enter a romantic relationship with someone, to date someone, that they've had to go on television and apologize for that they've had like massive public debates about whether it's appropriate for someone who is popular as a pop star to go out in a certain type of clothing, that kind of thing. And it feels to me, at least, a little bit like this, all of this branding, all of this celebrity culture surrounding D.Va is a bit of a commentary on that phenomenon in our real world. This not just in South Korea, by the way, but just in the world in general, the problems of celebrity culture, not only as a thing where we unduly worship people who are all too human and full of flaws and who might hurt themselves trying to live up to our expectations, but also that we bind up so much money, so much political pressure, so much capital in upholding these celebrities as perfect, as ideal, that it becomes kind of impossible to let go of it. It becomes kind of impossible to admit weakness or flaws, which is certainly something I've seen in Western celebrity culture quite a lot, in fact, where, you know, celebrities of all kinds have trouble handling being revealed as being just human because it's a huge blow to their brand and to their identity. And for D.Va herself, she seems to be kind of a literalization of that her identity, who she is as a person, is intensely bound up with her place in this society, with the pedestal that she has been put on, with her place as the number one, coming with, in her mind at least, a responsibility to also be the first one to sacrifice herself. It hurt her on a fundamental primal level to hear her teammates get shot down and taken out in the battle with that giant mecha. It damaged her. You can see the 1,000-yard stare going on with her there. She can't handle that. She can't handle the pressure of being responsible for preventing that or getting in front of that. And so the only thing she knows how to do is to throw herself at the problem and self-destruct. Anyway, I thought that was kind of a clever integration of the thematics of the character in the game with the thematics of the character in the community into a more cohesive characterization of a person that might, maybe, also function as a little bit of a commentary on contemporary celebrity culture. So, if you've enjoyed this video, thank you. There's a like button. You can click on it. You can also subscribe to the channel. You can also hit the bell icon if you want to subscribe to the channel. You have to do both. I don't know why. And if you're so inclined, if you have $1 that you don't need, that you don't mind me having and spending on, you know, frivolous D.Va branded products like D.Va rent that I have to pay and D.Va clothes that I need to wear, or clothes without D.Va on them because I can't afford Blizzard merchandise, then yeah, patreon.com/castercomics. There's going to be a link on the screen and down in the description if you want to. If you can't, or if you're not willing to do that, of course, that's completely okay. I'm just grateful that you've watched the video this far. If you didn't like the video, that's of course also completely fair. There is a dislike button down below, but I should warn you though that there has been a little bit of an infection. Recently we have had these malevolent robot creatures that have been infecting various web objects across the internet recently, and I've heard a rumor that some of them have been known to disguise themselves as dislike buttons, and once they're clicked upon, well, they will extend their terrible robot limbs and tear the person who had the temerity to click on them limb from limb, and then they will steal their identity and use it to buy all kinds of weird and illegal pornography. So just you know, fair warning, you should have some antivirus software before you click on that thing, because you never know what might happen. Thank you very much for watching.